In the pandemic, health officials noticed that there was a high rate of hospitalization for women between the ages of 18 and around 40, and researchers wanted to find out why that was.
Enter hormones. We love them. A research team here in Pittsburgh is one of two locations studying how our hormones could affect our immune system, specifically when it comes to the flu. Thank you so much for being here.
Yes, so Jason Shoemaker is here, and then Tatum Liparulo, yes, a graduate student.
Yes.
Welcome. So tell us about this evidence. Are the sexes different when it comes to perhaps contracting a virus, something like the flu?
Yeah, it's not too surprising that the sexes do behave differently. And when we're talking about sexes, we do mean biological sex as defined by your chromosomes, as opposed to the more broad gender spectrum.
Sure.
And in that case, because our chromosomes are different, you can expect our bodies to behave differently during infection. And in our case, what we're observing and others are observing is that your immune system behaves differently, especially in your lungs, between biological males and biological females. So we're trying to understand how is that happening, what are the drivers, and if we can take any of that information then to help design new therapeutics in the future that are more optimized towards specific individuals.
Oh, this is unbelievable. Thank God for technology, I would say. And what really drove you to study this? What was the trigger that you said it has to be the difference in genders?
Oh, I got really inspired by a professor down at Johns Hopkins University, Dr. Sabra Klein, who's been doing this kind of work for quite a while now. And she gave a talk at a conference one day where she just gave really compelling evidence that hormones might be a big driver of this, and or there might just be sex differences, period, that we need to look into. And we're computational modelers. We like to use math to understand what's happening. And that just told us, like, maybe we can use math now to start addressing these kind of questions in that space where maybe there's a difference between males and females.
And Tatum, this is fascinating research. How has it been to partner with him in learning about this?
It's been really fascinating. I mean, this isn't something that is talked about a lot. And so learning about it, and not just learning about it, but kind of being on the forefront of the research has been really inspiring. And it's been a really exciting area where we're learning a lot of new things that can hopefully improve treatments, especially for females.
Absolutely. And as women, this isn't new to anyone, but we often get the short end of the stick when it comes to health. And you said before when we were talking that we do have a robust immune system and the ability to fight off other things. But the flu is just iffy.
Yeah, the flu is just a special case.
Okay.
It seems like specifically flu, and specifically certain types of flu, seem to more predominantly affect women. A good example being the 2009 H1N1 pandemic. There was a lot of evidence that women were much more likely to be hospitalized at that time than men were. But other diseases are quite different, especially like COVID. There's some evidence, it's a little mixed, I would say, with COVID, but men might be more at risk with COVID than women. But it's much more mixed evidence right now at this point in time.
And
Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
Yeah. So we were just looking at flu specifically at this moment.
Yeah, and I'm thinking about the age ranges. So you're thinking like 18. I'm sure you have a lot of hormones fluctuating at that time. And 40, like all of your hormones are dropping out the tank. Yeah. So is that why those age ranges you saw the most activity there?
So what we're thinking there is that during 18 to 40, those are typically a woman's reproductive years. And so a lot of sex hormones are very high at that time. And we think in our research that increase in hormone levels could actually be driving our responses to infection.
Oh, so it's the span of that entire time, not just those two separate ages. Okay.
So I'm trying to follow you here. Whenever the hormones peak in those ages, our immune system drops?
It changes how it behaves, basically.
Okay.
Yeah, so it can cause, it's because sometimes you can have too strong of an immune system.
Right.
And too strong can lead to something called inflammation, which causes actual tissue damage. So you might have a really strong inflammation, which actually is too strong of an immune response to the disease. So we're trying to figure out where's that balance, basically, is what we're looking for.
Oh, got it.
It can be too strong?
Oh, yeah, you can definitely have too strong of an immune response, like allergies. That's essentially the definition of allergy, is your immune response just went off. And it shouldn't. So now we're trying to understand, okay, if it's an influenza then, how strong should that immune response be? Can you tamp it down a little bit to improve the outcome of the individual or not? And if hormones are kind of regulating that on the side or not as well.
Absolutely, and I know that you have a focus right now on influenza, but would this research be able to be expanded to maybe other things that we all catch kind of in our daily life?
It absolutely could. First, we would have to identify diseases that have what we call a sex difference. So where either males or females are have like a disproportionate hospitalization rate, which is hard in and of itself. But if we're able to do that, then this can absolutely be applied to a range of diseases.
Wow, this
What
is
important research.
I'm like, phew.
Me too. We could have a whole show about
Thanks
this.
so much for coming
Well,
in,
thank you very much for having us. Really appreciate it. And I want to
Thank you so
congratulate Tatum for having her child 3 months ago. She's a new mother, so we're very excited to have her in the lab.
Congratulations.
That's
Thank you.
awesome.
Oh my
yeah,
God.
we know what that's like.
What a
right?
blessing. Absolutely. To learn more about the research being done through the Shoemaker Research Lab, you can head to our website, kdk.com/talkpittsburgh.